News 12, first at 5, continues.
Surging COVID cases overseas, prompting a new lockdown in Shanghai. We're going to look at what's happening there and what doctors say it means for us here in the U.S.
But first, a series of videos going viral on TikTok. Just days later, a Millen police officer resigns from his job. The police chief tells us he was planning on meeting with Larry Ben Thomas about a video, but wouldn't confirm what video. Before they could speak, Thomas resigned.
For the police department, it was case closed. The chief says there is not a further investigation.
Our Sloan O'Cone joins us now live in the studio to break down what we know about the video and what happened with the Millen officer.
Well, you can see the video behind me, and we have the portion blurred out because it appears to be sexual in nature. But there are some key things to highlight and to point out. A tower climber is the one who posted the TikTok, and you can tell it's clearly from a high vantage point and a distant. You can make out the cop car up in the top, and then a cemetery and some patches of dirt and bushes. Comments on the post say it was taken off of White Oak Road in Millen. If you look at the satellite map, you can see the tower the man was on, patches of dirt, cemetery, and a school across the street. The video and resignation sparked our interest in asking more questions about former Officer Thompson. We found he's been involved in investigations on numerous occasions for his actions. Back in 2017, he shot another officer in the arm in what an incident report calls an accidental discharge. The findings of the investigation say it should be considered negligent. In 2019, he was responding to a potential home invasion, T-boned another car going 86 miles per hour, and ultimately, the 76-year-old driver died from his injuries after 2 days. In 2021, he admitted to inappropriately running the tags of a woman he had a prior relationship with to get her current address. For this, he was placed on a 2-day unpaid suspension and had to complete GBI security awareness training, which raises the question of what punishments do officers face for their actions?
Because there really is no standard for policies and policy enforcement across the state. Post is kind of the bedrock, because if you do some things, Post will make the decision for you.
And coming up on News 12 at 6 o'clock, I'm combing through more of Thompson's history and why officers with checkered pasts can often resign and move from one agency to the next.
All right, thanks for that update, Sloan. Taking a look outside, the Calhoun
is suspended. Locally and across the U.S., we've been enjoying a dip in cases, hospitalizations, and those COVID restrictions.
Okay, so here are the main questions. Could we see a similar surge to what's happening in Europe and Asia? Our Celeste Springer spoke to local doctors about what things differ here at home.
The views in China this month reminiscent of the early days of the pandemic. The WHO is contributing 86% of new cases globally to an Omicron subvariant, also called stealth Omicron.
It does seem to be spreading faster.
That came as bad news to China, a country that was heavy-handed in lockdown efforts early in the pandemic.
They had this massive lockdown. They would lock down entire city blocks. Now it seems that this new subvariant is out there, and most people have not been exposed to any of the variants.
The virus quickly overtook Hong Kong in a new wave, where back in February, vaccination rates among those 80 years or older sat only at 33%.
In terms of who's at highest risk of actually dying from COVID-19, it remains those who are over the age of about 60 or 65 or so.
But how are vaccination rates different here? According to the CDC, 82% of Georgians aged 65 and up are fully vaccinated, though doctors say the next battle is to get everyone boosted. And while local doctors urge everyone to get that extra shot and hope the most at risk will wear masks in crowds,
this is certainly not time to panic. This is a time to return to a normal existence here in Georgia and South Carolina.
There's hope different efforts here at home will set us apart from what's happening across the globe. Celeste Springer, on your side.
White House Chief Medical Advisor Dr. Anthony Fauci says he expects an uptick in cases here in the U.S., but not necessarily a major surge.
The number of South Carolina kids getting the shots they need for school is falling, and the health department says preventable diseases are spreading. 2 chickenpox outbreaks were reported to DHEC earlier this month, the first since 2020, both outbreaks at elementary schools. Health experts say the outbreaks are concerning because they happened recently and within a short time period, and they're reminding parents to stay up to date on those shots, including the flu, pneumonia, and tetanus.
11 workers have filed a lawsuit against a company that services Food Lion stores. It's over an incident last year at a distribution center in Ellery, South Carolina. The plaintiffs say 3 companies were negligent when the improper use of welding equipment indoors exposed at least 20 people to toxic levels of carbon monoxide. They say it caused them to experience severe dizziness, nausea, and shortness of breath, and many of them have experienced lingering effects like headaches and insomnia.
Augusta Mayor Hardy Davis returning to the Persian Gulf country of the Palatine. Taking a moment to show some love to the Augusta University Jags, even though they lost that national title game over the weekend, they still have a lot to be proud of this season.
Oh, they sure do. Their 19-game winning streak came to an end against the Missouri State Bearcats over the weekend. It was the first time the Jags returned to the national title game since 2008. And even with the loss, the players say they feel great about their progress. And congratulations to them on a great season.
Absolutely. Go Jags for sure. They played a heck of a game, and hey, second place still not too bad. If you were up there.
Life is full of highs and lows, especially at Weinberger's Furniture Outlet.
What do you mean highs and lows?
Well, we have low prices, really low prices, and with prices that low, we have high turnover. Items change every day. New styles, designs, colors, and sizes.
So here's the lowdown on the outlet. The prices here are amazing every day, plus the merchandise changes daily.
It's always a big deal.
At Weinberger's Outlet.
It's time, Rex. Let's have a conversation.
A record number of golfers turning up in Aiken today for the Triple Crown Golf Classic.
As our Will Volk reports, it's not just about the sport, but also about supporting 2 local organizations.
Look at all these golfers, almost 200. Organizers say it's a tournament record.
Getting what they want, MH.
Michael Hall put together a team with his friends.
Getting what they want, MH.
He hasn't missed a tournament yet. He's been to all 26.
Already.
He likes coming back every year because it's all for a good cause.
Turn over. Then turn over for me. Man, that's exciting, man, because we know that these donations will go to help people in the Aiken community.
Money raised from this event is going to 2 local organizations that help less fortunate people.
My kids can have extra things like movie nights, but it also means that they can have necessary things like haircuts.
Carmen Landy is the CEO of Helping Hands, which helps abused children. Her organization and the Tri Development Center, which helps people with disabilities, are both benefiting.
People really respect the work that Tri Development and Helping Hands do for the people that we serve.
It's always good time. Oh, nice ball. Nice ball.
Hall loves this, helping a good cause and golfing. For these friends, it's not a bad way to spend an afternoon. In Aiken, Will Volk, on your set.
Good job, Ed. Good job.
Great putt, caught on camera. I love it when you have witnesses for a nice putt like that. Organizers say they raised $28,000 this year.
Yeah, not a bad way to spend a Monday.
Right. Nice weather
sure.
for that out there today.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, a golf tournament coming up next month is in memory of an Augusta teenager just over 5 years ago, Drew Passmore, in a car accident that took his life. Since then, the Battle One Foundation has raised money in Drew's name to support area high school students. The money is used for resources needed for education, athletics, and service opportunities. Drew's dad says his story has reached people around the nation, but the community has really stepped up.
The community as a whole came together, and they still do. They still come out to support the foundation and all the events that we have, and we're very, very grateful for everybody that has supported it.
By the way, the tournament's coming up April the 11th at Westlake Country Club. That's at 1 in the afternoon, and you can still register if you want to tee it up for a really good local cause. With gas prices still at some of the highest we've seen in years, you might be looking for ways to save some money.
There are some apps that claim to help you find the cheapest price, and some that give you cash when you fill up. But Jamie Tucker takes one for a drive to see if it actually works.
Get Upside is a popular smartphone app claiming to help you find deals where you can save as much as 25 cents per gallon. Get Upside shows stations they partnered with. Depending on where you are, you may only see a handful. The app says there are 36 offers near me, mostly Shell stations offering as much as a 12-cent discount. Here's where math helps. Getting 10 gallons, I'd save $1.20, but I'd burn gas to get that offer. This 6-cent discount is closest, so I'd save 60 cents. The app doesn't take the money off at the pump, but adds it to a Get Upside account. When it reaches $15, the money is deposited into a bank account or PayPal. The problem is the stations participating don't always have the cheapest price to begin with, so you may actually save more by going to a different station. And to get the cash back, you have to claim the offer, then scan and upload the receipt when I'm at the pump. It's another step to save 60 cents. Get Upside isn't just gas. There are cashback offers at restaurants of about 7%, and grocery stores participate, but none in my area. Does it work? Yes. Is it as good as it sounds? Maybe not. Still, people who use it regularly do earn cashback, which is better than nothing, right? It depends on how many stations and restaurants participate in your area. So, as they say, your mileage may differ. I'm Jamie Tucker, and Get Upside is the app of the day.
The Get Upside app is free for both iPhones and Androids.
You do have to create an account and give the app permission to use your location in order to find those deals at nearby stations, but it is a way to maybe get some extra money.
I like his point. Keep in mind how far you have to drive to get to that discount.
Yeah, it's one I haven't used. There's one called Checkout 51 that I use. It works the same way. I've gotten money from that before, but that's a new one for me.
Go ahead.
I use Get Upside. All our Circle Ks around here are on board with it. I've made about $30 in the last couple of months, so it is worth it if you are a bargain hunter like that. For the weekend forecast, we're looking at mid-70s, chance for showers and thunderstorms on Thursday, and that will be during the day, so have a plan B for any outdoor plans. Friday into the weekend, though, we do clear out, looking nice and comfortable with temps in the 70s.
Well, just like that, we are 1 week away from the Masters, and businesses and restaurants, they are busy preparing, and so are those who serve our homeless population. A growing number of people in need in Augusta. What to do ahead of that busy golf tournament? That's ahead in News 12 at 6 o'clock after a short break.
With Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Closed captioning for News 12 is brought to you by Kenneth Nugent. From the station that's on your side, this is News 12 at 6 o'clock.
You can't really avoid these kinds of things if they're that, dedicated to doing it.
Neighbors on edge again after a string of car break-ins in Columbia County. What we know so far about those suspects, caught on camera, and the effort to track them down. But first up, the I-Team with an exclusive update about the Richmond County deputy accused of assaulting a fellow deputy. Georgia Post suspending Brandon Keithley's law enforcement certification when he was arrested on 2 felony charges more than a year ago, but he's still on paid administrative leave.
That means he hasn't been back to work all this time, but he's still collecting his full paycheck, and that's not all. He's even gotten a raise during the 481 days he's been paid to not do his job. But it appears someone else didn't do their job either, possibly leaving you, the taxpayer, on the hook to pay to keep Keithley at home for at least another year. Meanwhile, his brothers and sisters in blue just want to make sure they make it home after each shift. Sheriff Richard Roundtree even drives it home.
Like I said, some time for your life and death.
On his YouTube channel, it can be dangerous to be a deputy. Only this case is about a deputy accused of being dangerous. Let's rewind back to February of 2020, when Deputy Nicholas Nunes was performing CPR on a 17-year-old with a gunshot wound. Deputy Brandon Keithley is accused of hitting Nunes in the back of the head with a flashlight. D'Angelo Burns died in the Circle K parking lot on Peach Orchard Road a short time later. Deputy Nunes needed staples and stitches.
This was embarrassing, not just to the deputies, but to this agency.
Sheriff Roundtree disciplined both Keithley and Nunes following an internal affairs investigation, where the sheriff's office essentially investigated itself. Nunes resigned to work somewhere else, but Keithley Keithley returned to work after being suspended.
When Sheriff Richard Roundtree didn't announce criminal charges for the assault, the DA promised to ask a grand jury.
Fast forward 10 months, when a grand jury decided to indict Keithley on 2 felony charges for assaulting Deputy Nunes. Keithley was booked into jail December 2nd, 2020. We start the clock when he bonded out that same day because that's the date taxpayers started paying him to stay at home. The I-Team sent an open records request for his salary information, and here's what we learned. For the first year he stayed off the job, taxpayers paid him a total of $43,394.72. This year, however, he is earning a new rate of pay thanks to a 2022 salary increase. That's right, he's getting an extra $2,496.37 just to stay at home after he's been staying at home. Now keep in mind, Sheriff Roundtree continues to ask Augusta commissioners for money. In this year's budget, he asked for 60 new tasers. At $1,860 each, Keithley's salary could cover around 25 of them. Or it could pay for the 8 biometric readers the sheriff requested, plus the training class, with quite a bit left over. Keithley's salary just for 2022 could also cover the entire education program. In 2021, it could have almost paid for all the protective headgear commissioners approved at their January 6th meeting. But this isn't just about taxpayer money. It's about a deputy indicted on felony charges, still employed as a deputy. Before the dollars started to add up, the I-Team asked the outgoing district attorney if that's unusual.
That is very unorthodox. I mean, it's always been the procedure, as far as I'm aware, that once someone is indicted, that they are no longer employed with the sheriff's office at all.
Which leads us to the current district attorney and where this case stands now. Before Jared Williams even took office, he told me he would be sending the case to the state attorney general because Williams had a conflict. He was a member of the law firm representing Deputy Keithley. The I-Team confirmed the AG's office received Williams' conflict letter December 9th, 2021. That's more than a year after Williams confirmed that conflict to the I-Team. That means the case was essentially at a standstill for more than a year. Now, that delay means hundreds of other cases are in front of it. In 2020, the AG's office received 178 conflict cases. In 2021, that number skyrocketed to 486. When the I-Team asked about this year-long delay on the Keithley case, the Office of the Attorney General replied, "District attorneys should issue a conflict as soon as it's noticed." During the course of our own investigation, the I-Team noticed, according to Sheriff Roundtree's own policy and procedures manual, a flashlight can be considered a deadly weapon. In the reasonable force defined section, it clearly states under impact weapons, it may be considered deadly force if strikes are directed to the subject's head, as was the case with Deputy Nunes. Deputy Nunes is now working in law enforcement in Arizona. Deputy Keithley, meanwhile, makes a living sitting at home. Unlike his fellow Richmond County deputies who put their safety on the line every single day to protect, to serve, and to earn their paycheck. I reached out to Brandon Keithley's attorney. He said they do not want to make any comments at this time. I was hoping Sheriff Richard Roundtree might want to speak to me as well. I did not get a response to my request, and it was no secret I was working on this story. I had to go back and forth quite a bit to get these salary records.
Keithley, by the way, has been indicted on those charges, but again, he has not been on trial, so he's still presumed innocent. If convicted, he could face 1 to 20 years in prison just on the aggravated assault charge. For aggravated assault on a peace officer, he could face 5 to 20 years. Let's have a look outside now as we
We'll get some storms likely by Thursday in just about 10 minutes.
All right, thanks for that, Riley. The Aiken County Sheriff's Office needs your help finding this missing woman. Take a good look. They do believe that she might be in danger. The family of 54-year-old Melissa Keenan says they last saw her Friday walking into the woods near her home on John Scott Road, which is off of Charleston Highway. We're told she was in black sweatpants and a dark gray hoodie. Anyone with any information is asked to please call deputies at the number on your screen. That is 803-648-6811.
Also this evening, the search is on for suspects behind several car break-ins in Columbia County.
The owner of this doorbell camera tells us it happened around 3:30 this morning in the Wrights Farm neighborhood in Grovetown. You can see suspects in at least 3 different cars here, and this video is pretty clear too, and they were all allegedly involved in this operation.
We have News 12's Claire Allen live now from Wrights Farm with more on those neighbors' concerns about all this. Claire?
From what police tell me, there were about 4 cars that got broken into, and mostly small items were stolen. The most alarming part about all this is that the suspects may have been armed with a handgun. One neighbor I spoke to says his car was stolen right out of his driveway, and the thieves abandoned the car right in the middle of the road.
And literally the first thing I thought was, oh, not again.
Neighbors in one Grovetown neighborhood broke up to their cars ransacked from early morning car break-ins.
This is actually very concerning because this is the second time since we moved here in January that I know of that this has happened.
News 12 obtained camera footage of suspects going from home to home, pulling on car doors. In one video, you can see one suspect is armed with a gun.
It's scary. It's unsettling.
One neighbor told us he just moved into his new home in March and woke up to an unexpected surprise.
This morning, when the cops knocked on my door, I noticed my car was gone. I noticed it was gone last night at 4 a.m.
Just 5 miles down the road in Augusta, reports detail similar car break-ins at Haines Station off Dean Bridge Road. Now neighbors are worried these incidents could escalate.
Yes, I am very concerned that if this does happen again, other people come back, new people come back, more people come back armed. If there's going to be nothing to deter them now, who's to say it's not going to happen in the future?
And neighbors say despite these break-ins that this is still a safe place to live in. Law enforcement tells me the best thing you can do is to lock your doors and be aware of your surroundings.
Some really good surveillance video. Hopefully that will help investigators find these suspects. Claire, thanks for the live update there from Grovetown. As we shift things over to First Alert Chief Meteorologist Riley Hale.
We are looking for nice weather the next couple of days. The forecast just after the break.
Plus, just 1 week until the Garden City rolls out its welcome mat to the world. See how our community is making sure there's room for everyone in Augusta. Next.
9.
Masters Week is almost here, and while the city gets ready for more crowds, more customers, finally people again, 2 local groups are making sure there is enough room for everyone.
Here's Kennedy Harris with how they're helping the homeless ahead of the biggest week in Augusta.
Pretty soon, traffic on Washington Road will be picking up, and beds at the Center of Hope might be filling up.
But we just want to remove any barriers to keep people from getting help.
Barriers like access to the shelter.
We've just seen a growing number of homeless folks around the community, not just around the shelter.
Like on Washington Road, where it's an hour, 30-minute walk to the Center of Hope. But now a bus pass will take them to the shelter for free.
I hope, that once they get here, we're going to get them into case management, and we're going to remove barriers.
The partnership between Augusta Transit and the Salvation Army will distribute 5,000 passes starting Tuesday. They're targeting Washington Road first.
If folks need a meal to eat and they don't necessarily want to stay here, it is available. You can just show up and you'll get food.
And there's no better time, with hotels making room for tournament guests by kicking others out, and the recent shutdown of an illegal shelter downtown. Officials expect more people in need ahead of Golf Week. This month, the shelter already became home for 9 separate families, with 21 children total.
We've got some cots in, some mattresses that we're bringing in just to help ensure that we have plenty of room for everybody.
A ride to the shelter and hopefully a ride to assistance. Kennedy Harris, on your side.
Those bus passes will start going out to businesses along Washington Road tomorrow. If you or someone you know needs one, they can stop by a business or get in touch with the shelter.
The Salvation Army says this is not a temporary partnership, and they are working to keep this initiative going.
Let's head outside now for a live look to see how things are looking. Riley, thanks. Still to come, a series of TikToks go viral. Then just days later, a local police officer resigns from his job. We're asking questions and taking a closer look at the videos in question.
The live new models are arriving daily. See your Augusta Aiken Honda dealer.
We're asking questions tonight about videos going viral showing what appears to be a police officer engaging in a sexual misconduct case on the job. News 12 Sloan O'Connor live in our studio with what we know about this so far.
Well, you can see the video behind me. We have this portion blurred because it appears to be sexual in nature. The police chief tells us he was planning on meeting with Larry Ben Thomas about a video, but wouldn't confirm what video. Before they could speak, Thomas resigned, so we wanted to take a closer look.
From the tower climber's TikTok, you can tell it's from a high vantage point in distance. You can make out a cop car, the cemetery, and some patches of dirt and bushes. Comments on the post say it was taken off of White Oak Road in Millen. If you look at the satellite map, you can see the tower, patches of dirt, cemetery, and a school across the street. The video and resignation sparked our interest in asking more questions about former Officer Thompson.
Some agencies have very low tolerance for any type of arrest, and some agencies have a much higher tolerance.
Investigation documents show back in 2017, he shot another officer in the arm in what the incident report calls an accidental discharge. Thompson claims he was cleaning his gun when it got jammed and fired. The findings of the investigation say the weapon had no malfunctions that would have led to a discharge, and it should be considered negligent. In 2019, investigative reports show Thompson was responding to a call, T-boned another car going 86 miles per hour. Ultimately, the 76-year-old driver he hit died from his injuries. Just last year, a woman he had a prior relationship with told police he was harassing her. He later admitted to inappropriately running her tags to get her new address. And because Thompson didn't face severe punishments for these investigations, they don't appear on the Georgia Peace Officer Standards and Training Council's records. Just his work experience, promotion a year later after the fatal accident, and his voluntary resignation on March 21st, a day after the TikTok was posted.
And actions are only reported to post if they're terminated, resign under investigation, or instead of being fired, or if the officer is suspended for more than 30 days. And Thompson's only consequence was being placed on a 2-day unpaid suspension after the harassment of the woman and had to complete GBI security awareness training.
Interesting follow-up on that, Sloan. Thanks for checking into that and for looking at the post records. Columbia County deputies, they are asking for your help finding the driver of this white F-150. Take a good look. They are accused of hitting a child who was riding a bike in Martinez last night, then leaving the scene. It happened just before 7:30 at the intersection of Braddock Street and Maywood Drive, just a couple of blocks from Augusta Prep. If you have any information about this, please call the sheriff's office at the number on your screen.
Well, it is only Monday, but we can always look towards the weekend, and Saturday and Sunday are looking picture perfect. Mid-70s for highs with just a few clouds passing on by, but generally dry for us. Now look at that 7-day forecast coming up.